Hello to everybody. Hello, Ricky. How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. Where are you now?
In Kiev,
In
in a
Kiev.
lo in a location.
uh, what location?
Can't say
You
so
don't
much
tell.
at the moment.
Yeah. Understand. Yeah, yeah. So you going there for your weekends?
It's a mix of things. Basically, I have, you could say, some clients, and I'm gonna do some things for them in Kiev. Then there's a journalist guy that I connected to another friend who they're talking, and I will meet him later today. And it's a mix of things. Meet up with
Mm.
some friends, meet up with another group, meet up with
Do you mean
another group.
journalists who work now in Ukraine?
To be honest, I'm not sure where he's from. I just know he's from outside of Ukraine, and he
Yeah.
wanted to come into Ukraine for the anniversary and ask what everything was like, do a little bit of recording, and everything else, and that
Ah,
which I connected him with two or three people.
Understand. Yeah, I think now in Ukraine a lot of different foreigners because they would like to know how life is after 3 years of the war. I can't believe that this is already 3 years because personally for me and for many Ukrainians it's look like you just sleep, that's and you cannot wake up because your life was so different from what we have now. But nevertheless, we need to go ahead, I think, and do our the best in this situation, which we have now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we come back to your past, to 3 years ago, as I understand, you was in Ukraine that time.
In
What?
2022, you mean?
Yeah. So I
Okay.
would like
Yeah.
to
Yes.
tell about your time that time and why you did not leave Ukraine. You have remote job. You have American citizen. You can come back to US. At least you can go to Poland and work from there. But still, 3 years gone and you is in Ukraine. So what's the
Okay.
reason?
So to recap a little bit, I'm not sure where I left off exactly, but so what happened was, so when I came back in 2019, May of 2019, there basically is it's a visa free limit of 90 days, just like Schengen. So
Yeah,
what
in
happened?
Ukraine we can have visa like for 3 months, I think.
Yeah,
And
and then
after you
you
need to leave, like
yeah
touristic visa. Yeah.
yeah it's the same for Americans and the same for Schengen area in the European Union. So basically, if you go over the 3 months, then you're in short, you're like an illegal alien, or you basically violated like the little bit of the immigration policy. So what happens is from 2019, this is covering over from May 2019 to January of 2023, in that I was in Ukraine for one whole trip itself. And that then, of course, beginning of 2022, the war started, everything else with that. Um, so basically, I didn't leave because I was trying to build a ground, kind of like a bit of a ground level, or what I would think of as a ground level, to get myself situated to have enough things that, like, if I leave, I can return, I will have these things and everything else. So I wanted to kind of make sure everything would be there when I came back. That was the key thing. Then the next part is when I came back to go through the direction of
Do you mean that you in 2019 you was in Ukraine for 3 months and you try to investigate the situation, how you can live here, if you can move?
yeah, yes,
I
okay.
understand.
So to backtrack and explain more. Um So what happens is, and it would be good advice for foreigners that want to get a visa to stay longer, other than marrying a Ukrainian, which some people might like, but there's also another way. So
Okay.
what happens
So
is,
if you married in Ukraine, you can stay.
yeah, the process is it's the same process, just, well, the wife, or let's say
Yeah.
let's pretend it's a woman that comes to Ukraine instead of a guy. Let's
I
say the
think, yeah,
Ukrainian guy
such
would,
cases are popular, were popular in Great Britain. So, for
well,
immigrants.
yeah, well, in short, whoever is the Ukrainian, guy or girl, would then vouch for the husband or wife, whichever it is. That's in the sense of the marriage. In the sense of the other way, you would either A, find a company, this is before the war, you would find a company, you would do some kind of like charity work, or you would like find some way to have someone vouch for you that they employed you and such. There's like three different ways other than the marriage and
Okay.
that. So
So you can married, you can employ Tara in Ukraine and get like working visa, or you can be
yeah,
volunteer in Ukraine.
volunteering. That's what I meant by charity.
By the way,
Um,
one guy asked me about volunteering visa in Ukraine. How you can get it? Do you know?
uh, well, in my opinion, it's very easy. Depends who the lawyer is. The lawyer that I know will charge like about $600. It's somewhere around there, $600 for the paperwork and the process. And basically, besides your passport, he fills out some paperwork on his end. He gives you that and like some health insurance thing that you have to have for the visa. And then he would just tell you to go to Krakow or to Warsaw or to Lublin. You can go to either, but usually, I think Lublin and Krakow are faster. They will process it in one day. And the price for the visa is different depending on the how you get the visa. So the marriage visa costs like $300. Then the volunteer visa, don't quote me exactly, it's either 120 or $180. And then the work visa, I forgot the price too. But they're different prices for the same thing. And that it's the Visa D10, and that which is you get that extends your 3 months. And then when you have the visa, sometime in the 3 months, you should basically go to an immigration office and then register yourself and have a place where you're living and the place this and that where you will register, and everything will then smooth out, and you pay like about 1,000 hryvnia, about $20-$30 for a temporary residency card. Should I show it? It's in the next room. I can go grab it for a second to give you an
Ah,
idea.
I think this is fine. Yeah, because probably there are your personal.
Well,
Data.
I mean, it just shows my birthday besides my name, but either way. But
Yeah.
what happened?
Basically, it do not need to find some volunteering center, some volunteering organization, or some charity. You can just
In
make this volunteering visa through some lawyer.
Yeah, well, in the case of my lawyer also has an NGO, so he put me in with that, and that. So on the paperwork, I'm listed as working for him underneath like the volunteer NGO part,
Mm.
and that, and so that's what gets me into it, and that. But basically, I kind of have a I would say it depends on who's sponsoring, because basically the lawyer or whoever is sponsoring you, it's their decision on how serious they are with it. And in the sense of my lawyer, he's a good friend of mine before the war, and we always used to debate politics and everything else. He doesn't task me with any work necessarily, but he also knows that, like, kind of, if I'm left on my own to my own creative ideas, I kind of just create my own work, and then I kind of just like in-house and bring it in and that. So I'm always recording some videos that are like something local in Ukraine, some photography, some this or that. And so I think he kind of sees it as, if I'm promoting Ukraine in a positive light, that's his idea of work in some
Okay.
way.
Yeah.
And
What you are doing now?
now, or like in total?
Yeah, I mean that's um, through even this video you show how people live in Ukraine, about your life in Ukraine. So in such way, I think you can popularize Ukraine. Some people ask what this video is about. Actually, this is interview with Ricky Cain, who live in Ukraine, American IT guy, and he tell about his experience living in Ukraine during the war, about different type of visa. Ricky is on volunteering visa, so you know about this type of visa
Yeah.
in details.
Yeah, and I will mention one thing, which, how do I want to say this? I'm not suggesting that anyone does it. It's solvable if you do it correctly. The key part is to do it correctly. So let's say there's a situation where an American comes over and it's his first time in Ukraine. And then he likes it. He kind of gets lost in the culture. He doesn't want to go after the 3 months. Usually, there's two ways to go about it. If you take it the legal route, is you should find someone that will employ you, a volunteer thing, or go find the girl to get married to. That's your like three main options.
Three options. Yeah.
So what happens is now, let's say you don't do those options, which was my case. So I chose like a fourth option, to break the law a little. So what happens is, the reason why I was hesitant from 2019 to 2023 is there was a lot of misinformation. So depending who you talk to in that, let's say you talk to lawyer A, lawyer B, lawyer C, and lawyer D, and then maybe you talk to some employer A, B, C, D. Okay. Sometimes they give you a little bit different information and it doesn't make sense. So when I was thinking about it somewhere in 2019, it's a thing that, depending on the person, to an American, it looks unregulated. It looks a little bit crazy. So there is some lawyers that will charge a normal average rate, somewhere, let's say $600, $800 for the paperwork of the visa and everything. And then you pay like the little small resident card fee and the health insurance. The health insurance is like 20 or $50. But what happens is some of them tell you what the price is for everything. And then sometimes you will get, let's say, a money hungry lawyer, or someone that just really, really wants money. And you can hear prices from 1,000 every single year to $5,000 and $10,000 every single year, which that's what made me hesitant from 2019 to 2023. And then, in some sense, because I knew my friend Yuri, who's the lawyer, and he's also enlisted in the military, because I knew him, he kind of figured a way, in his way, to get me under the radar. As long as I when I left Ukraine in January of 2023, as long as I self-deported, basically I walked into an immigration office. I paid it's about $100 fine. It will be about 3,000 grivna now. 2018, it was 2,500 grivna. But what happens is you'll pay the fine. They tell you to leave for 3 months, and then you can re-enter. And that. So
in 2019 you did not leave Ukraine. You
I didn't leave
there. That is why you pay fine for staying.
Yeah. Well, I did it twice.
Twice,
I paid it in 2018, then 2023. In that.
But actually, $100 it's not so.
It's 4,200 now, but when in 2023, they were talking, and the guy that was in charge said no, 3,300. That one guy said 4,200, or he didn't say 4,200. He said like 3,800, and then the guy in charge said no, 3,300.
Okay, I just would like to just explain also my experience working with Ukrainians, because as I understand, you need to find some reliable lawyers, you need to find a reliable person who can help you. So actually, how you can find it? There is in Facebook there is very good group expert in Ukraine or expert in Kiev, so you can ask advice from there, from these guys, and they can recommend you somebody, or probably you have a friend in Ukraine, so as you did here, your friend help. Just 1 minute. In Great Britain, I had the situation that I needed urgently to translate my diploma into English. But here in Great Britain, it costs so much and it takes time. Everything in Great Britain takes time. But some people recommend me to ask Ukrainian company, Ukrainian translator. So I just posted in some Ukrainians group in Great Britain that I need translations, and one man who have friend in Ukraine, he advised me the agency. So actually I wrote to 3 different agencies. It was Sunday morning, but till the evening I found the agency who helped me with diploma, and it was great because I did not pay a lot of money. I think how much? It's something like 2,000 grivnas, or
like $50.
Yeah, $50, something like
for
that.
45 pounds or
not
something
much.
like that.
Yeah, and they were professional. They translate it, they use notarials, and after they send to my brother all the documents. So first of all, you need to find some reliable and responsible service and person in Ukraine. But Ukrainians are doing their job very, very good and much more less price than in Western countries, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, there's more competition for it, so that means the quality should go up if there's more competition in a good world.
Yeah, because on Sunday day, 2 companies respond to me. I think what they are doing on Sunday morning, they responded for their customer request. So this is great.
Yeah.
Really good. So if we come back to, thank you for this information. If we come back to 3 years ago, what was your experience in Ukraine? Why you decided to not leave Ukraine? It was crazy time, but then everybody tried to leave, and
yes. So I'm trying to think exactly when all the hype started. It was like, wasn't it like around December or like November? Like the news started to hype up a little bit.
Yeah, I think
it was around there in 2021. That
I know
that
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 embassies like US embassy or Great Britain embassy ask their citizen to come back to the countries, leave Ukraine, something
yeah.
like this.
Well, what happens is this. The reason why I stayed, um, it was kind of really like a math calculation on my part. That's the most simplest way to explain it. So what happens is because at the time I lived in Ivano Frankivsk, I moved to Ivano Frankivsk from Lviv.
Okay,
And
Ivano-Frankivsk, this Western Ukraine. Basically, you
yes,
live in Western Ukraine.
yes. And so in my thinking, because I'm basically 1 to 2 hours from the Polish border, Romania is nearby, Hungary is nearby, Moldova is nearby. My thinking was very simple like this, was it will take a certain amount of time if something was to occur. It will take a certain amount of time, maybe a day, maybe 3 or 4 days or 5 days, to then get to the capital. But then it would slow down or take a few more days to get to where I'm at. But the other part is, so when I was in Ukraine, when the war started, or at least when it heated up in 2022, I was not on any official paperwork. So basically, because I talked with this idea with friends, Ukrainian friends, and that. So basically, I was overstayed. The legal term is overstayed. I was overstayed, but there was no one in the government, the police, or immigration that said, Ricky Cain lives at this address. Only the owner that I paid rent to knew that I was an American in that. So, in that sense, I kind of felt like I was anonymous in some sense of the way. And what happens is because Ivano-Frankivsk is surrounded by mountains, Bukovel is nearby, Uremche is nearby. I had a joke, uh, kind of like from the film Red Dawn, the '80s version. In the film Red Dawn, there was a joke in the film that the Russians, there was like a group
Do you
of
mean
Russians.
this Russian film?
No, it's American. It's the film Red Dawn is an '80s film about the Soviet Union invading America
Okay.
in that. But what happens is there's a little small section in the film, and I kind of thought about it in my case. What happens is in a section in the film, some of the soldiers, the Soviet soldiers, broke away from the other part of the military, and they wanted to go skiing. They wanted to go on a mountain and go skiing at Yosemite National Park. So they did this, and they're like trying to translate the signs and everything. They were lost, and that they were lost in the park.
The
But
same that happened in Ukraine near Kiev. They were lost in
yeah,
the forest.
well, but what happens is, regardless, is what happens is I felt that I was in the either A, last place a Russian military or soldier would look for me. That's one. Then two, I figured I would have enough advanced early warning in case I needed to leave. Because really what happened was is I had a lot of clients and family telling me to leave, besides getting some alerts from the embassy.
Oh yeah, I
But
think your family they were
yeah,
like, okay,
yeah, especially
it's
my
no problem.
grandmother. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what happens is I actually deferred advice. I listened to advice from the Ukrainian friends that I knew, and that so I put their opinion over it all, and I would still do that. It basically, say things got really, really bad, I would still defer my opinion. Like I would judge my opinion on what they say, not what CNN says, not what Fox News says, not what anything in the US says. In that in and at the time, in those like 3 months before, everyone was like, yeah, they say this all the time, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, nothing's going to happen with it, yada, yada, yada. And then, like, I watched Putin's speech, and I actually, because I'm thinking from an American view, I looked at that as an example, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, there was a lot of buildup, a lot of momentum buildup to say, look, I'm going to sign a piece of paper. Okay. And I figured that was the whole point. And that was like when he signed the piece of paper, it was a day or two before. And I thought, yeah, this is really boring. So they basically built up a lot of momentum, a lot of energy to get everyone going crazy for him to sign a piece of paper and make a speech. That was my thinking.
You
And
told, by the way, you told that when the war started, you was in Ivano-Frankivsk and you heard explosion there.
yes. It was it on the 24th or was it on the 26th? The actual strike happened. I can't remember exactly. Or was it on I can't
Uh,
remember the exact day. To be
I
honest.
know. Yeah. I know that in the morning, 2000, in February 24, there
Okay.
were explosion in different cities of
Okay,
Ukraine,
yeah,
in
yeah,
the big
yes.
cities. Yeah, because Russian tried to bomb airport. I think airport in Ivano-Frankivsk they
Yes,
bombed.
yes. I have a video from the smoke of it because I could see the smoke from where I lived. The reason why I don't know this exact day is because basically the 22nd to like the 28th is like blended together in my head. I kind of like just lost track of the day in a sense. And I just kind of blended it all into my head as like a seamless day. Even though it was like 4 to 5 days, it just kind of like it's just gelled all together like in one day in my head. But regardless is I was on the phone with a teacher when that happened. And at the time, it was somewhere like 4 in the morning. I This was my recollection. I heard I heard what sounded like either three airplanes or three fighter jets take off. That's what I heard. And that somewhere around 4 or so in the morning or 5 in the morning. I don't remember exact time. And that it's in a chat log with me and my teacher in that because I said that's interesting. I hear three planes going by and it's very early in the morning. I said it in conversation. And then maybe 10 or 20 minutes later, I'm not sure if that's what it felt like. I heard what I thought was like say someone's iPhone from the floor above, the apartment above. It sounded like something fell down to the floor. It just sounded like something fell on the floor from the apartment above. And I believe that itself was probably the missile strike to the airport. That's what I think because then another like 30 minutes to an hour, it was about six-ish, it was 6 or 7-ish. And I heard the alarm, which reminded me of a tornado siren and the nuclear siren that goes off in Michigan. And I looked out the window and I saw this huge plume of smoke. And that was my thing to it. But I didn't wake up to it. I was awake during the whole time, but I didn't
So,
realize what it was.
you used to have air alarm in the first day of the war.
Yeah, I heard the first one itself, and I even recorded it a little bit. And
because
it's
because I remember very much about this first day. I did not thinking nothing about that day. I just usually I wake up early in the morning, like 5:30 in the morning, and I have running because in my town we have very beautiful lake and park. So I usually run there to that lake, and it was so clean and just calm moment when you run to the lake, see around, make some exercise in your nose. And I did not even notice. Yeah, I have seen that people look out of their windows and there is a helicopter and they look on this helicopter, but I even did not think about the war. I'm a bit crazy, yeah. And when I come back home, I dress up my son for his nursery, his kindergarten. He was in the nursery at that time, and I was without any thinking because that day we agreed with our friend to meet after his nursery, going to playground. And my neighbor just met us and told, "Where are you going?" I told this to kindergarten, to nursery. So, do you know that it's closed? I told, why closed? Probably again coronavirus, because before was coronavirus, and I was, oh my god, this is coronavirus. Yeah, I always like take my son to nursery. I am free. I can do some my work. And do you know that the war started? And I was like, shock, what war? I have my own plan. I have, that time I just did my work and I have my ordinary life, and it just crashed into your life, all these events. It's, it's crazy time.
Yeah. Do you want me to skip forward in time or continue around the same first, second week, by the way?
If you would like to continue, about
okay, so
time.
basically, like, I'm sure in your case, the first day was a little bit strange. It actually reminded me of 9/11 because I was 15 when 9/11 happened, and I was in the school at the time, and they just announced it over that there's a historical event. Everyone should turn on the TV, and it was kind of like a shock and bewilderment, like just a surprise. And then of course,
do you mean when the plane were crashed into the
New
New
York,
York?
in New York, into
In
the whale where
2001, or
yeah, I was 15 at the time.
Yeah.
And that, and there was a lot of shock and bewilderment about that when it first happened, and then there was a very big tension in the first, let's say the first like 2-3 weeks. There was a lot of tension in a way. I mean, some of it was good and some of it was bad. The best way to put it is that because there was a lot of some people were in a panic. Then some people, I'm talking about 9/11. Some people were in a panic, and then some people were like, okay, we need to go in and invade this country, this country, this country, this country, and that it was a mixed feeling, and I understood it in a similar way with the start of the war in 2022, because it was almost the same reaction. Almost, I would think there was a bit more paranoia in Ukraine, but it was more about uncertainty in that, like, because no one was giving exact information in the first, let's say, 4 hours or 5 hours, and that it was kind of just up in the air, and then everything else within that. But no, it's like that. I can say in probably within the first, second, third week, I did something. I did it thinking in an optimistic scenario. There was friends of friends through couch surfing that they were on one side of Ukraine or in Kiev, or there was a guy. He was from close to Mariupol, but it was not Mariupol. I forgot the name of the town.
Did you stay also by couch surfing?
Yeah. I have a
Is it
lot of references on Couchsurfing. Yes.
is it exist now?
Uh, yeah, it
Website.
exists. It exists, but in Kyiv, I think Couchsurfing is more popular. In Lviv, before
Yeah.
coronavirus, Couchsurfing was a huge thing. Now
Because
in
I would like to explain Couchsurfing. This is special website where you can put information about you. If you have some spare place, you can invite other people from other country and they can stay with you, or you can be guest to other people just for free. I took part also in Couchsurfing. It was my very good experience.
yeah
After finish university, we apply for Spanish visa with my friend, and we had no money at all. But we know about couchsurfing. We registered there, and we stayed with one guy in Budapest. He was Spanish guy, but he worked in Budapest in Hungary, and another guy was in Barcelona. It was so interesting because the first guy, he just left key to us, and he told us, okay, I'm going with my girlfriend to the village, you can stay here for how much you want. Yeah, for 2 days we were staying there. For Ukrainians, it's unusual because Ukrainians, okay, in that time were like thinking, okay, they can steal other things, they can do something, yeah. But we found that in Europe, people are very open, at least in
yes
that time. Yeah, now in Ukraine, the same.
yeah
Yeah, and in Barcelona, we stay with a Spanish guy who would like to practice Russian language. So we speak Russian with him in that time, and we cook borscht together. I remember Ukrainian borscht. He was very excited. He wrote very good reviews about us. That
yeah
you need to host Ira and Tanya because they are very good borscht cooker. Something
gotcha
like.
so
So
what
this is the
happened
borscht.
is in the first and second week. Oh, Verdansk, the one guy was from Verdansk. I remember the name of the
Berdyansk,
town now.
it is now occupied by.
Oh no, I know, but in like the first or second week, there was a guy from Verdansk that
Yeah,
I hosted.
Berdyansk. This is in the south of Ukraine, and it's now occupied by Russian army.
Yeah, but what happens is basically like there was about, I would say, about 40 people. It was 40 people, and that not at the same time, but different periods. Um, Basically there was like a group. There was like four people. Some of them came from Kiev, and the one guy came from Verdansk.
Do you mean to you?
Yeah, Kiev.
Ivano,
Yeah,
yeah. So
in
you
that.
have a lot of friends over Ukraine.
Well,
As
no,
in,
but I'm referring to with the war part in that, because basically what happened was a friend connected me to them. They were on couch surfing, but the others were not. And what happens is when the war started, I got contacted, like, can I host them? And that for like 4 or 5 days till they get situated and know what to do. And I said yes. So they came, they stayed, and I at the time I had like 2 to 3 bedrooms. And that actually, other than my bedroom, it was like 3 to 4 bedrooms. So I had 2 to 3 bedrooms, and I let them use them. And what happens is they stayed, they got situated, and then they got their own apartment and everything in around Ivano Frankivsk or so. Then another group was a family from Zelensky's town. I'll kill the name of the city.
Кривий
Yeah,
Ріг.
yeah, yeah. That they were from. Well, I kill the name of that town every time. I can't say it correctly.
Yeah.
But what happens is they came, and then my owner. I did this. I The best way to put it is this: I was hosting Ukrainians, thinking two things. I figured, A, if my owner knew about it, he would either A, like the idea that I was trying to help some Ukrainians. That was first thought. The second thought was, if I don't do it, he might be a little bit like, oh, I want to help my people, so you should move, and I'm going to move some Ukrainians in. So I was trying to make a decision in the middle, what I
Yeah,
felt
but
was
you had some
acceptable.
spare place.
Well, but you know, the lifestyle that I live, you could say it's better or in the middle or whatever. Um, I always like a large space. So in Lviv, I had a 100 square meter apartment. Then my first apartment in Ivano Frankivsk, I had 300 square meters. And then I went down back to about 90 square meters. So I always like to have a large apartment, and it comes from growing up culturally to always have like some guests over or to have some
In America,
visitors.
very popular to have the big houses. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
but
In
it's
Ukraine,
how
we
I
have
grew
not
up.
much. Yeah, not much space. Usually in Ukraine, in 2 rooms, apartment can be like and granny and parents and children. Oh my God, all whole family.
Yeah,
In my town in Cherkasy region, we have 1 room apartment. It's very small, but my friend from Kiev, she came to us the first days of the war, and she stayed, I think, for 3 days there. Till now, she remain. It's like nice time because we cook together, we have make some exercises together, and actually a lot of people from Kiev came to my town. They remind their grannies, their parents, everybody. Just I think after Kiev was attacked, after 3 hours, everybody went to my small town. Yeah, and
yeah,
that everybody was so friendly because people share mattress. Everybody was taking some hoover, some stuff, move from one apartment to another. Until now, we have a lot of refugees from South Ukraine to my
yeah.
town.
And the end result, which was a bit strange. I actually understand it from the owner's point of view, but I thought it was a little bit cold. It was a little bit cold of the owner. So what happened is in the last two groups of people that I hosted, and that because basically it's kind of to understand it in an American way, it's kind of like I became a small underground railroad, not in the sense of slavery, but in the sense of like I basically opened up my home and let them live like they were at home. And that I didn't make any conditions, I didn't charge any money for it, I didn't do anything with it. In the sense, I felt like this. I thought, I have a large apartment, I have room. It would be wrong of me, it would be greedy of me to close the door to it in that. And at the same time, I figured, well, maybe I can help in some small, very small, insignificant way. That was it. That was my idea. And again,
I
I
think a
thought,
lot of people here open their houses in Western
but
Ukraine because many my friends moved to Western Ukraine, and also many people moved to Poland. Poland was very open. People opened their houses, everything. I remember my friend from Kiev. She had a little daughter. She came to Western Ukraine, but there are in Western Ukraine there were also explosion. She came told that she came to Lviv railway station, but there was air alarm, so they decided to take train to Poland. And there are in Poland just strange people just who don't know them. They told, okay, you can stay in our house. So they take them to their house. They treat them with food. They even want to give some money to them. I don't know, but people in Poland were so hospitable and they help Ukrainians a lot.
Yeah. And the thing that was, like I said, a little bit cold of the owner, and that was there was one day he did a check just to check up on me because they liked to do it. Um, Renting in Ukraine is also another thing entirely. But some owners, if you pay them whatever, if they're happy with whatever amount of money, let's say like $300-400, some owners will never bother you in Ukraine. Ukrainian owners. Sometimes I guess if you pay a little bit less, or uh, some owners are a little bit more controlling or checking. And I had the case of a checking owner that was always curious. He wanted to know where I was going, blah blah blah, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I know such kind of people
And
who
that
like to check what's going on.
And what happened is he checked. He didn't call me. The biggest thing was this: he would usually call me to check, and so then I would kind of rush everyone out for like say 4 or 5 hours, and then I would bring them back in. That's what I would do. And what happens is, regardless, is in the one time he checked randomly, probably because a neighbor told them, and that he found out that I was housing, and I explained myself. I basically said, look, I looked at it this way. If I was the owner, I have like 2 or 3 choices. Replace you because I'm going to want to help my people. Or 2, I like that you're doing it. Don't worry about it. Just, I want to make sure nothing bad happens. Or like 3, something else entirely. But what happened is he actually, with him and his son, they were a bit irritated with me. They basically told me that I'm breaking the contract and that I should kick them out in that. And I think some of it was a little bit they were nervous I would be taken advantage of. But at the same time, it's their apartment too. But I just pay rent there. And what happens is he basically said that he talked with them. I figured maybe they could reach an idea or an agreement. And the only thing that basically they half agreed on is the owner said, I can find you an apartment. Do you want me to find it? And they said no, that they would find it. And after that conversation, because those Ukrainians, when they were with me, they like there was a few that understood English very well. The younger ones that were my age or younger, they listened to the whole conversation in English and Ukrainian, and they told me, they said the owner is something from the Soviet Union. In that, and they said the way that he talks is like he was like some like a government type of person at one time, just how he talks in Ukrainian or Russian or whichever. But and he would have his son there to translate into English. But regardless, that happened. So then I got them out, and then I did it randomly. There was another group that came in. It was just a couple, a man and a woman from Nikolaev, and I hosted them for like about 2 or 3 weeks, and it was good. And I didn't try to do it again for a long period. There was another girl. I really wonder about the girl because she actually wasn't Ukrainian. She was Russian. She disappeared essentially. It was such a strange thing. She told me that she was going to come and stay with her husband. Then when she came, she was not recognizable. She had long hair in her photos, and her hair was cut so short in that.
Probably she decided to go for the war.
And the other part, she was Russian, her husband was Ukrainian, but she came alone. And I was confused by that. I even asked, I said, you said you were coming with your husband, and it's only you. I don't understand. And she spoke almost perfect English, but she didn't want to talk about something. She said that her passport was ripped up, but she had a Russian passport and everything else. She was originally from Ekaterinburg, and she just decided to live in Ukraine and everything. And she stayed for like a week or two, and there was a small disagreement, and then she just disappeared. She like literally disappeared. She didn't say bye, she didn't say this, she didn't say that. She just literally disappeared. And the stranger thing was this. Uh I noticed it by accident. I wake up early usually. I gave her a whole living room with a bed and a couch and everything, and like tons of pillows and everything. But her mentality, what how she was feeling at the time, um, she actually slept on the floor, but not near like the couch or on the bed, but by the window of the building, like on the where Ukrainians will store their stuff on the like the balcony area,
Yeah.
but sometimes the balcony is still inside the apartment.
Yeah.
She was sleeping on the balcony in a sleeping bag
No.
like
Probably
that.
probably she afraid of some attack though. I don't.
Well, but I mean, it was. I talked to a few Ukrainian friends. I said, she's strange about it, but and like friends of mine said like, well, it's a war, Ricky. There's a lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
strange thinking going on in that. But I mean, it, like I was trying to give her as much comfort as I could in that and everything, and like she kind of denied the comfort in some level. But that was for the hosting side,
Yeah.
because my owner was trying to like clamp into me, and that like you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do this. So I had to like kind of look like I was going along. And I actually moved a 20-year-old girl into my apartment because I didn't trust the owner. And it was a girl that I did photos and modeling for. And I just told her, I said, like, look, her name's Vera. I told her, I said, like, look, I don't trust my owner. I know you, and you can be my wall against the owner. That was my idea.
Yeah.
Is that like I at least have a Ukrainian to vouch for me if some weird thing happens and everything else. That was my idea. And I had to, it was really funny, but one time I had to make up the excuse. The excuse wasn't true. I basically, he goes, him and his son come over. He goes, "You have a girl living with you." I said, yeah. And I go, "What about it?" And he goes, "Is she living with you?" I go, uh, "Kind of, yeah. She's like a girlfriend." And I asked, "Is that any of your business?"
Yeah. 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 You
But
know that owners. I used to live in Kiev and I ran different apartment with my friend, with my cousin, and especially all the ladies. They want to know who come to you, what are you doing in the apartment. Sometimes they visit you, and it's so annoying sometimes. Yeah, but it depends what person you make agreement with, and actually if they rent to you the whole apartment, this is not
they,
their business.
they're they're
They
in.
just you pay money for for this apartment. Yeah, yeah, I think this is great that many people hosted Ukrainians until now, host in Western Europe and in US, I think, because till now in Ukraine is the war. By the way, I told about my friend who now in Ukrainian army. he asked some donation for drone. So now he has drone. He told that he going to have photo of this drone, how they like, yeah. So he very grateful for donation to people who make for these drones. So thank you for support Ukraine. I think we can talk about your experience on Ukrainian front line in the South Ukraine in the next video, because it's become
sure. And then
too
part
much.
3.
It's already 1 hour.
Yeah.
So today video is about like how war started, how
Hey.
people experience is, but the next one we can do about your volunteering in the South Ukraine and what kind of people did you meet there and your experience. So thank you a lot for this video. Thank you for staying with Ukraine. I know that you have your own ideas about everything that's going on, but anyway, you is in Ukraine, and so hope very soon we come to Ukraine as well.
Yep. All is good. All is dobre.
Yeah, and the war will be over. Okay, see you and have a good day. Thank you guys for watching this video, and if you have any question, you can write here. Okay. Привіт Україні, Київ.
Okay.
Wow.